Hey guys, Temporal here. Just thought I'd make a quick video about how to counter Dharoks in Runewild. There are a lot of DH PKers in Edgeville, and it can be pretty obnoxious to fight them because the gear has a lot of defense bonus, but there are some small things you can do to maximize your chances of hitting, and some spec weapons you can use that do the same thing. So first off, I'll just mention the gear real quick. If you are currently using a Nezi helm and a B-ring eye against Dharoks, you're going to want to make a preset that has the fighter helm and the tyrannical ring instead. That's because these give crush bonuses and the B-ring and Nezi helm do not. The reason this is important is because out of all of the melee defense bonuses, Dharoks is weakest to crush. And on that note, if you do have access to Avernic, Ferocious, and Infernal Cape, these also help out a ton. Now moving on to the tier list of spec weapons. So in D tier, I'm essentially putting every other weapon that I don't mention in the tiers above. This is things like the Dragon Dagger, where the accuracy really isn't good enough to consistently hit against Dharoks. It has 4 specs, sure, but against this gear, you really need an accuracy boost to be able to hit, and that's a common theme in this tier list that you're going to see. So then in C tier, I'm putting the Granite Mole. It's in C tier because it is a crush weapon, so it has that going for it. But it simply just doesn't have enough crush bonus. It often ends up just being a waste of a spec, and I only recommend it with 2 specific weapons in this tier list that have a great synergy together. And no, it's not the Armadyl Godsword. So then moving on up to B tier, I'm putting the Dragon Mace and the Vesta's Longsword. Now, you might be confused why I put the VLS so low. The spec rolls against 25% of the opponent's armor. It should be really accurate. Why is it in B tier? Well, I may be biased when I say this, but for some reason in Runewild, the VLS just doesn't hit, man. I don't know if you guys have been experiencing the same thing, let me know, but I've used the VLS for quite a while now, and it really just doesn't seem to do what it says. Up on the screen is the chance of hitting against someone in Dharoks with the VLS. This is calculating using attack and defense rolls. You can check out the wiki if you want to learn how to do this. But essentially, when I'm using the VLS, it doesn't seem to have this high of a hit rate on the special attack. Then we move on to the Dragon Mace. If you're in welfare gear, it can be a really good counter to Dharoks because it is a crush weapon, and each special attack has a 25% boosted accuracy, and that's really all there is to it. One thing I should mention, by the way, is that on all of these weapons, you really want to use the accurate attack style. It's because using accurate gives you +3 attack bonus, and using aggressive gives you +1 strength. And when you're against high defense bonuses, you really should value attack bonus instead of strength bonus, because strength bonus has no influence on how often you hit. It only changes your max hit. That's the only thing strength bonus does. Now up in A tier, we have the Armadyl Godsword and the Dragon Warhammer. The Armadyl Godsword is self-explanatory. You should also use the chop attack style with AGS as well, as with any weapon on this tier list. The AGS has doubled accuracy when you spec with it. That's all that needs to be said, to be honest. Then for the Dragon Warhammer, it is the second highest single-handed crush weapon in the game. If the first spec hits, you can do some pretty nasty combos with it. This is the weapon that has a synergy with the G-Maul that I was talking about. That's because if the Dragon Warhammer spec does hit, it reduces the target's defense level by 30%. That's really huge because their defense goes from like 118 down to like 90, and that makes the Granite Maul way more consistent and likely to hit. It can easily stack 100 damage together, and it's a pretty fun combo to use overall. And finally, in S tier, we're starting off with the Voidwaker. I'm pretty sure everyone expected this. I mean, it does magic damage on its special attack, and Dharoks has almost non-existent magic defense. Then next, in S tier, we have the Stadius Warhammer. This is essentially just an upgraded version of the Dragon Warhammer. It's the strongest single-handed crush weapon in the game, but it only takes up 35% of the spec bar. It's the king of crush. And finally in S tier I have the Dragon Claws, and I have some explaining to do as to why I put the D Claws so high up, because I did put DDS, which is another slash weapon, down in D tier. Well, that's because the Dragon Claw spec actually has 4 individual rolls for accuracy. The 4 hit splats you see when the D-Claw spec is activated have their own roll. That means if the first hit splat doesn't land any damage, then it will try to roll for the next one. And if that doesn't land, it'll go to the next one, and then the next one, and so on. One last thing I do want to mention is, I know it's kind of a strange video, but please leave a like if you enjoyed, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.